There's a new digital bank in South Africa. Bank Zero officially started accepting new accounts, with its major selling point being zero banking fees. My colleague Xolani Mbanjwa spoke with the Bank Zero chairman, Jordaan, who's no stranger to the banking sector as the former chief executive of First National Bank.
Yes, it took longer than we had anticipated. We would have loved to have been out in the public 6 months ago or even earlier, but clearly it didn't help that there was this COVID pandemic, so the tiny team all had to work from home. And I suppose it's one thing when you already have a working operation to work from home, but when you're in a very creative mode, as we were, starting a bank from scratch, from first principles, coding the entire tech stack, unfortunately, that was very complex to do from home. And you know what? We may even be the only challenger bank that has launched in a completely working from home mode in the world. But anyway, we're very excited to be live today.
Well, what were the hoops that you had to jump to get here today?
The regulatory process was tough. Getting a banking license, that's not an easy thing. We have very sophisticated regulators and the bar is set quite high, but that's a good thing. So it made sure that we were on our toes and that we had looked after everything, your compliance, your risk management, your auditing, the composition of your board, the structure that you have as a bank. And maybe for a technology bank, the most important was the overall technology architecture. So obtaining the license was tough. You also have to have adequate capital. And then a small team under the leadership of Yatin Nasi set out to develop this bank. And they coded everything from scratch, thinking from first principles. Basically saying, if you're going to start a bank on a phone today, and if you're going to have a new card, what is it that you would want on it? And of course, zero fees is a big part of that. But there's also advanced functionality that protects you against rogue debit orders. That's a big problem in the industry, or skimming, or card fraud, etc. So we think we've come up with really powerful banking functionality, or rather the team has. You know, I'm fortunate to be the non-executive chairman, but we really have a very, very impressive team that are good at strategy, but can also roll up their sleeves and deliver something. So today is a great day for us.
The way you've started, Michael, at the first instance, you are going for businesses. You don't want a whole rush of everybody just opening up a bank account just for the sake of opening up a bank account and just counting numbers. Tell us what you're going for now. And for businesses in particular, how are you serving them better compared to the competition that has years of experience behind them?
Yes, you're quite right that this Bank Zero, is accessible to anyone with a smartphone, and obviously that includes individuals, but we're particularly excited about the business banking functionality that we bring to the market. So this isn't just an entry-level account with zero fees. It is advanced, powerful banking functionality. So for a business, for example, whether they make their electronic payments or transfers or card swipes or salary payments, all of it is free. And the functionality, for example, allows for online sign-on. You know, you don't have to go to a branch to do any paperwork. And also, one of the things we're proud of is that mandates can all be set up and changed from your phone, up to 3 different levels of mandate. So a business owner can say which individuals in his or her business can approve transactions at various levels. So the moment you know that you don't have branches to rely on and you can't do things face-to-face and paperwork, we've had to devise all of these things electronically, and the team has done a great job. So we do think that we have a competitive value proposition, particularly in the business segment.
What do you say to them, to those businesses who are skeptical, who still want the traditional face-to-face, answer me, my questions directly, and may not have moved so quickly into the new age of doing things? What do you say to them? What are they going to get?
Well, to those businesses, I would say get with the times. You know, the world's changing. Everything's changing. Google, Facebook, Twitter are all free. It's R0 a month as well. So there's no monthly fee and there's no fee for any of these electronic transactions. So anyone with a smartphone who wants to save on their business costs and fees, and right now it's quite a tough time there in South Africa. You know, we've had COVID and businesses are struggling. This is a great way to actually save costs without giving up any functionality that you have from your incumbent bank. So I just say, get with the time, get yourself a Bank Zero account.
What is your target in terms of those, number of customers, number of businesses? I'm sure you do have targets that you've set for yourself. And secondly, how are you making money if you are not, charging bank fees like the rest of the banks that are out there?
So our initial target now is just that we want to get to break even. We as founders have all put capital into the business. The senior members of the team that are active have not drawn any salaries, so it's been many years for them without salaries. So we just want to get the bank to profitability, and we think we can do that when we hit 100,000 customers. And we'd like to hit 100,000 customers, within this year if we can. So that's our first target. But you're quite right. People ask the question, so how are you going to make money if you don't charge bank fees? We're not worried about that because there are many banks all over the world that don't have bank fees, and high bank fees is maybe a facet of the South African banking structure. We will in fact be taking deposits, so the deposits on your transactional account or the deposits, notice deposits and term deposits that we do have. And the margin between those retail interest rates and what you get as wholesale rates, that's a source of profit for us. But there's also payment interchange. Whenever anyone makes a payment to your Bank Zero bank account, the other banks pay us. When people buy airtime or data or electricity, there is a source of income, or when there are card swipes. So there are a number of revenue sources, but maybe the most important thing isn't just those revenue sources, but that we have a very, very tight cost structure. We really were able to develop a new bank using the latest technology and systems. So when you have a very low cost structure, then it's much easier to offer zero fees like we have.
One of the problems that South Africa has is that small businesses, don't have access to markets. Are you offering anything in that guise to help them?
So you ask if I had to give advice to any small business customers, I would say try Bank Zero. The downside is very low given that there are no fees. I wouldn't close any other existing bank accounts that you have until you're certain that you want to move everything across, but give it a try. I'd also advise them to try and not use cash, because what we offer isn't free cash in and out, but free electronic transactions. And there's even a QR code solution that is much less expensive than, for example, accepting card transactions. So what we're doing to help these businesses isn't in the credit space. It's not going to be lending by Bank Zero. We are laser focused on transactional banking and making transactional banking affordable by making it free where we can, and to make sure that in that way we can take costs out of the cost base for businesses. Now, again, given how tough it is out there and the fact that the typical business can save very many hundreds of rands per month on bank fees, we think this is exactly what the market's looking for.